What is up, people who are tuning in to see what this video is all about? Which is pretty obvious, going by the title that I did put on it, talking to future self. Yeah, just wanted to take some time out to talk about my Bellator 206 experience, seeing as it was my first time going to a live MMA event as a credentialed media member, or media member of any sorts. Because, it was kind of a big deal for me. It was crazy experience, awesome experience. And there were some interesting things that I noticed that I wanted to share with you all, since I know a lot of people have never been that close to the action like I was. And so here we are making this video, and I am sacrificing video quality for audio quality. As you can see, my laptop camera is not amazing. But I think my microphone's pretty good, so that counts, right? Counts for something. Yeah, I also was thinking maybe do a Q&A at some point. I'm just going to say that now instead of at the end, because I know more people watch the beginnings of videos or vlogs or whatever kinds of things like this. So then you would hear it first rather than waiting all the way till the end. If you end up having questions for me, hit me up in any form, way, shape, or form. So yeah, Bellator 206 though. I mean, what a fucking ride. I mean, I never thought that I would end up in that position that I was, and I can't believe that I do have the positions that I do, because even though it did make me feel more like a journalist, well, let's just get this out of the way. For those who know me, I don't really consider myself a journalist at all by definition. Even though, I do journalist things, I guess. I consider myself a writer, reporter, more so a writer, because that's what I do. I write about things. I write about MMA things, fighters, all that stuff. And that's what I do, while still being me and maintaining my integrity as the person that I am, which by definition, it doesn't seem like journalists are really allowed to do. They kind of seem like you kind of have to be a robot in a sense. And I just can't really do that. I mean, I do it to more of an extent, I suppose. What am I trying to say here? I hold back more than I do. I hold back now more than I did before I got the positions that I have now, right? Because if I was completely 100% unfiltered, then I'd get fired, which don't need that. So yeah, man, I'm gonna have to remember now where I was going with that. Yes, it made me feel more like a journalist, by that definition, I suppose. But while I was there, hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, I'm gonna have to edit that part out. Yeah, it made me feel more like a journalist, but less so at the same time, because I was there and I was still me, Hold on, I'm gonna sneeze again. Man, I told myself I wasn't gonna edit this video, but then I sneezed. So these edits are only for sneezes, things alike, and remembering what I was saying, so I'm not cutting any of the good stuff out. But yeah, so with that said, it was intimidating at first, definitely, especially on media day, because you're in front of all the fighters, interviewing them one-on-one. I've done interviews before, of course, obviously, as you can see on my channel, cheap plug. And it's totally different, because you can't. Well, I'm sure you could, and I'm sure people do, write their things down, their questions and all that, and maybe have them in front of them instead of just up in their head. But yeah, I wasn't completely prepared. It was my first time, give me a break. But yeah, a lot more intimidating, just because you're like, I'm still a fan, as I think that anyone who covers the sport should be a fan, because then why are you doing it? You need the passion to do this and to be good at it, which, yeah, I don't know how many people really do have that, which leads to bullshit clickbait and whatnot, which nobody likes. and especially me being where I am, it's hard to see that stuff at times and very frustrating. And I avoid it at all costs. And I'd like to think that I don't do that, but getting off track. So yeah, it was definitely intimidating at first, but once you really get going, it's not that bad, and it makes you want to do it more. At least that's how I felt. And you know, I already knew this, but you realize more that these fighters, these badasses, you know, they're humans too. Obviously, a different type of human, of course, but we're all still just humans, and that's one of the points. One of my big 3 points that I've written down here. Because people don't realize that, I don't think. Especially this is directed towards MMA fans, like the fan bases, which are pretty unforgiving. Because you know, it's just like, if you're in the spotlight, you're on TV and everything, people think of you as, I don't want to say not human, but something else, you know, something more than that. And so they think that they're just fucking, it's okay to talk a bunch of shit to them, and like they don't have feelings too and everything. But they're just, you know, they're like us too. We're people, and we fucking get annoyed when people say stupid things to us. Sure, more or less than others, but it's just dumb. You know, it's just dumb, the fucking, how some of these people get treated. When you see them in person, it's just totally different. You're like, oh wow, they're an actual guy. Like for example, you know, like seeing Carrie Melendez in person. You know, she's just a little chick, you know, obviously a ferocious striker, kickboxer, badass, but just a little 116-pound woman. You know, I mean, it's crazy. It's just makes you realize, more so if you do or do not, that these are just people too. And so it's a little bit of an eye-opener, I guess. More so because you know, I've realized that already, and I think that people forget that somehow. Just if you're on TV, you're a professional athlete, you're unfazable, unbreakable, that kind of thing. But not at all the case. People see that stuff. So just one of my main points. And then as for the fighting it goes and stuff, being up close like I was, I've been to one other, so I've only been to 2 MMA events, including Bellator now. The first one I went to was UFC Portland, last time they were in Portland, for John Lineker versus John Dodson. Seats were not as close, obviously. You can't really get as close as I was unless you're a pretty popular fighter and whatnot, 50 Cent, whoever. So yeah, being as close as I was, big difference. And in regards to the fight specifically, big difference, because this might sound weird and not make sense, which I don't really think it makes sense either, because when you watch on TV, you have all the angles, all these, you know, it's probably better to watch, because, you know, there are times where I couldn't see shit because somebody's in the way, or the, you know, a post is blocking the action or whatever. And so, like, on TV, you can see all that all the time. But that said, for some reason, scoring a fight when you're that close and in person, it feels a whole lot easier, like a lot clearer as to who won. And I mean, that could just be, I could just be feeling that way because the fights were pretty decisive. There were only 4 decisions all night, I believe, at Bellator 206. So, and they were pretty clear. I mean, the split decision was for Melendez's fight against Dakota Zimmerman, but it's even then, it was like, I feel like I know how the result's going to go here. So judges, you know, they might not be as wrong all the time as we think that they are. And I mean, there are, of course, terrible decisions that you can't say anything about, but I don't know. It was just one of those weird things that I noticed when I was there. I was like, man, it feels like a lot clearer as to what's going on here, just because you're so close, or I don't know. It doesn't really make sense, right? It sounds weird, but yeah, it just seemed like a lot more obvious. Like you can tell, you can hear it, the sound. That's a big part, I think, is the sound, because there are sounds that you hear in person that you do not hear on the TV. Like, for example, when Amber Leibrock got slammed down by Arlene Blanco out of that armbar for the slam TKO, man, that was very loud. And I haven't watched it on TV yet, but I doubt it was as much of a sounding impact as it was. And that just goes for punches, leg kicks, everything. The sound is not the same. So you can tell what's more damaging, I suppose. That's what I'm getting at. But yeah, it was just a thing. That was one of the big things I noticed. Yeah, those were actually kind of just my points. Those were the ones that my big ones. So yeah, I kind of wanted to share those things with you, as going through my first time going to an event as a media member. And I'm like hooked now. I want to go to more and do that all the time. So hopefully I do. And I just want to say that the Bellator staff, they were incredible, very nice people, very cool. You kind of, I don't know, just me, I'd like imagine maybe the staff members of an MMA organization, they might be kind of like assholes or really strict. Maybe just thinking of the UFC, or I don't know. But yeah, the Bellator guys, they were all really cool, very nice, friendly. Also, just dudes, just people like us. So yeah, thanks to them for allowing me to go, credentialing me. Thanks to bjpenn.com for allowing me to go as well. And just, letting me be a part of the team. Yeah, it was something I'll never forget, and something I hope to do a lot more often, and provide content for you guys and support for these fighters, and all that good stuff. So if you have any questions, I will happily answer them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know what else to say. I mean, other than, follow me on Twitter if you don't already, at DRE_KRIGGS. Check me out on bjpenn.com, Fansided MMA, MMA Today. It's my 3 spots. Yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed, took something away from this. Always love to talk about this stuff. Yeah, I'm rambling now. Take care, guys, and see ya.